Hello students, how are you? Welcome to Mass Academy. In this video, we are discussing about scientific methods. While conducting an investigation, scientists often follow a series of steps. This is called scientific method. There are 6 steps in scientific method. Step 1 is state the problem. Step 2, gather information. Step 3, form a hypothesis. Step 4, test the hypothesis. Step 5, analyze data, and step 6 is draw conclusion. And while scientists conduct any investigation, they often follow these 6 steps in series. This is called scientific method. Now we will discuss each step in detail. Step 1 is state the problem. When we begin an investigation, we need to state what we are going to investigate. It's like we observe a phenomenon in nature and ask why it happens or how it happens. We see it's raining and ask how rain occurs, how day and night occurs. And we can take an example. We will state our problem as why ice float on water. We see ice is floating on water and we ask a question why ice is floating on water. So in this video, we will take this as our example and we are stating our problem why ice is floating on water. Step 2 is gather information. During this step, we collect all available information about the problem. When we collect information, we need to depend only on the reliable sources like books published by good universities, scientific journal, authentic websites, etc. During step 1, we stated our problem why ice is floating on water. Now in step 2, we collect all information about objects that is floating on water and sinking in water. Now we will go to step 3. Step 3 is form a hypothesis. A hypothesis is a possible explanation about the problem. It's like predicting the solution for the problem based on the information that we have collected. In step 1, we stated the problem, and in step 2, we collected all available information about the problem. Now let us make a prediction. Ice is floating on water because the density of the ice is less compared to the density of the water. Step 4 is test the hypothesis. During this step, we will check whether the hypothesis we made in step 3 is correct or not. There are different methods for testing the hypothesis, like by conducting the experiment in the laboratory, by making observations, and if the object under study is very small, like atom or DNA, or very big, like solar system or galaxy, then we use scientific model. A computer simulation is a good example for scientific model. So in step 3, we made a hypothesis, that is ice is floating on water because the density of ice is less compared to the density of the water. Now in step 4, we will conduct an experiment to check whether the hypothesis is correct or not. We will collect different objects, will calculate the densities, and will compare the density with water, and we will keep it in water and will check whether it is sinking in water or floating on water, and we'll record all the data and observation in a paper. Now we will go to step 5, analyze data. Now we got data from our experiment. Now we will analyze, we will record this data into easy to read table like an Excel sheet, or we will use the data that we got from the experiment and by making the observation to plot a graph, and we will analyze the data. After analyzing the data, we need to make a conclusion, that is our step 6, draw conclusion. During this step, we need to state whether our experimental result and our observation support the hypothesis we made. So if it support the hypothesis, when we need to go back to step 4 and test the hypothesis, means we need to repeat the experiment to get more reliable result. And if our experimental result doesn't support our hypothesis, then we need to go back to step 3 and we need to modify the hypothesis or need to change the experimental setup.